But it's fine. It's fine.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So, question from non-Muslim friends, and this is, I forgot which session we are, but yeah, we have been working on this since last term. We went through some of the questions. I put those check marks to some of them. So marriages, different madhab, Shia Sunni differences, hadith, these were the ones we are done in this first page. So we will get to the last one today, suffering. If God exists, why does he not intervene to prevent suffering? This was one question that came from not you, but your non-Muslim friends. And other than that, we went through why is Quran open to such a wide way of interpretation, and also the miracles. We talked about that too. And in this page, I will also pick up on this. How come things go out of control of an all-powerful God? So, of course, these are very wild questions. Yeah.
I was asked a question just yesterday.
Okay.
Non-Muslim, and he asked me, why do we fast in between sunrise and sunset? And I had no answer for that.
Okay, why we fast between sunrise and sunset? Okay, no answer for that. Okay, so we can, as I am paying for my wife's parking, we can briefly talk about that. Any idea what you guys think? Why do we fast from sunrise to sunset? Any idea?
I just told him that if it's like, it's the busy part of the day, so we are like busy with our work, but also like it is encouraged. This Ramzan is for discipline, right? So while we are working and we are like fasting, it promotes discipline. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I came up with.
Okay, discipline. Yes.
Maybe because there's like clear markers of when sunset and sunrise is. So like, you see the sun going up and yeah.
So his point was like, it's better, like he was
You can
directing
really
it towards intermittent fasting. So he was saying that it's better to eat between sunset and sunrise, like according to health professionals. Yeah. But
Yes.
I think like the main purpose of a fast is to make it sure that we sacrifice our meals for certain individual. So usually in our daily lives, we usually have majority part of our meals from sunrise to sunset, not the opposite. So it's to make it sure that our sacrifices are also during that period when we enjoy the same layers.
Okay. Yes.
I feel like intermittent fasting, like I think it defeats the purpose of why we are fasting. Because isn't part of Ramadan like to experience what people who don't have much experience, but if you're eating throughout the day, that doesn't give you the full experience.
Yep. So, okay, online people are also, mashallah, joining today. So what did online people say? They say it wouldn't make much sense fasting while we are asleep. I mean, yes, that's right. So we are eating at the daytime, so it makes more sense that we fast during the daytime. Okay, so Dua says, from Tazkiyah point of view, it makes sense to fast when you're awake. And Tazkiyah in here is to cleanse yourself. Okay, that gets a little deeper. We'll get to that. Zerin says, building God consciousness throughout the working hours when we normally wouldn't think about God. So recognizing that I am following a command from my creator. So mashallah, this is a good and comprehensive answer. Let's continue from Zerin's answer then. So what is the point of fasting? The fasting is like you're going out of your routine by fasting. So during that time, There are many things you take for granted, such as like water. Like water is free. Free meaning it's mine, it's anybody's, right? But you're not allowed to even touch water. So, and you're doing it not when you're sleepy, halfway sleepy and reaching out to water, right? No, you are awake, fully awake, and you have this urge to drink water, but you cannot. What does this teach you? Water is not mine. And this body is not mine because my body says, give me water too. I am thirsty. But the owner of my body says, no, you're not going to feed this body. Water is not mine. Water is not yours. Body is not yours. I am the owner of both. And I would like you to become conscious and aware of this during that period. This is what fasting is teaching us first and foremost, that we are not the boss. We are not the owner. Okay. So, and daytime is a good environment for that. But the same question can be expanded to why those 30 days for everybody and not, I don't know, just do it 30 days, but throughout the year, whichever is easy for you. Why it is not like that, but rather 30 days of those months. So these are all different wisdoms we can seek for in there. And this, for example, making it 30 days for everybody, the same period, also shows us that fasting in Ramadan is a communal worship, meaning I'm going to benefit from other people's fasting too. Like imagine in the house, my son is observing, like children are perfect observers of their parents, especially the little kids. So the kid is observing that his father is not touching water, mother is not touching water. This teaches the kid that, oh, there is somebody above my parents, because for now that we have 2 and 5 years old, 2 kids. So for them, parents are everything. They get their best lesson from their parents. And they think that my father is strong. Today I was talking to my sister and she has a 2-year-old. I said, is your father strong? She says, my father is strong. So she makes it like that. For a child, parents are the best. Now the parent is not touching water. So this is becoming a lesson for the child too, saying that there is someone above my parents, a creator above my parents. And also you benefit from other people's worship. You observe their consciousness and whatnot. So there are many wisdoms in there that we can catch from these details. But of course, in order to be able to catch those, we need to identify properly what is the main reason of fasting. It is, as Dua was saying there, to attain taqwa, because Quran is putting fasting with taqwa. Taqwa means getting God conscious, becoming aware of my creator and who I am and what's my purpose in this existence. Once you put it to the proper place, then you can interpret it correctly. Good. So let's get back to our question here about suffering. This is the question, and I will hear the question from you with the versions that you hear from your friends, not the way you have them. If God exists, why does he not intervene to prevent suffering? Or another one could say, well, how come things go out of control of an all-powerful God? As if those people are killing children, innocent children with tons of bombs and whatnot, and God is not intervening. Is it that he doesn't exist, or is it that things got out of control, even he cannot touch it, or what? Why is there so much suffering? And you say that God is all merciful. What sort of a mercy are you talking about? For a child dying with a phosphorus bomb. And this version of the question was also asked in another discussion. Like God is the one who is creating this chemical reaction that's happening when a phosphorus bomb touches your skin or touches your lungs, the burning. So the creator is literally burning that child right there. What sort of a mercy are you talking about? They say. What do you think? Let's first start with the questions. Yeah, go ahead.
I think we talked about this
We did?
before too.
Okay.
And so you said that this question has to be looked at in the context of that there has to be an afterlife.
Okay, so we did. Okay, Dua, what do you say? She's online here. So I asked her, and she's the I suggested this and she said okay. Do you guys remember we discussed this before? You do?
I
Okay.
I don't think we discussed it in that much detail.
Okay.
Maybe we touched upon it a little bit. I mean, afterlife is just an aspect of it, you know.
Okay. So we'll get there. Yes, you were saying something? No? Okay. So in any case, since we started this, we can continue with that, or I don't want to waste your time. Let's vote for it. What do you think, folks? Is this a question? Ooh, Zara makes a comment. My cousin passed away yesterday, rahimahullah. He was on a motorcycle and a car crashed into him. He died due to hemorrhage. I had this question many times since yesterday, and they're all Muslims asking this question. Okay, so may Allah have mercy on your cousin. So, like some accident also happens, and a person is crashed under the car. What do we make out of that? Yes.
We need to flip that we talked about this, not that's the so
Okay.
basically like we have to look at it in the context of the afterlife because like it's a test, right? And like
Okay,
yeah.
good. Afterlife is part of that for sure.
I remember you talking about this because you gave an example of your own kids, and you said that my kid was at the window, and you had to close the window, and he was about to jump.
Mm.
You something.
Okay, good. So bits and pieces there, yes, Ahmed.
So we all know that Allah is all powerful, but we sometimes also forget that Allah is all wise,
Mhm.
Allah is al-adil. So when we say that, oh, Allah couldn't save this person, so he's not powerful, we should also know that Allah has 100 minus 1 names, which are not contradicting each other.
Mm.
So we also can remember the story of Musa alayhi salam and Khidr alayhi salam,
Mhm.
where Musa alayhi salam was not truly understanding why would the prophet kill the boy, or what prophet like um, make things which look bad, but at the end we know that Allah is all wise and
Mm.
everything should be in order that Allah thinks is the best. So in some cases, death for someone can be better than living a long life, because you never know if you'll die as a Muslim, or you're gonna die as non-believer. So I think we should hope, like trust Allah in every decision.
Mhm. Okay, I mean, these are good, but let's see. Okay, so since Zara has those heated feelings, we'll get there. Let me read the answers here. First of all, do we see a problem with this question, Dua says, with this idea of God intervening? Okay, this is something that we will pick up on. And Zara says, even if we accept death, even though that in itself is extremely painful, why couldn't he die peacefully in his bed? Why did he have to suffer the way he did, bleeding out on the roadside? Why did Allah put him through such brutality? Is what Zara is asking. Yes, Khadij.
It's about like all of the boy question, and then as he was talking about wisdom, a lot of times you don't see wisdom in a lot of things that are happening around you.
Mhm.
So if you don't see the wisdom, how would you believe it? Like, would you take someone's word for it, or would you
Mm.
extrapolate it from different experiences that you see around yourself? Because, or do you have to see the wisdom in all of that and then go by your day?
Okay.
And as for me, I would want to see like the wisdom in everything. Like, I wouldn't take someone's word for it. I wouldn't even extrapolate it from different examples. Like, for example, people could say like, oh, this thing could happen to you, so this bad is happening right now, so it might also turn into good. Things like that, how people explain.
So I guess your question in here is Ahmed was saying that we know that God is all knowing, God is all wise. Maybe the question in here is, do we know that God is all knowing? Do we know that God is all merciful? Do we know that God is all wise? Or how did you know that in the first place? Is another question, right? Because normally on the good days, probably you wouldn't question this. But once such an accident happens and your beloved dies, and even there was a case that like a family friend, very pious family, very beautiful family. And especially for that person, like she's not even coming from a religious family. She's coming from a non-religious family, and she fought for it to become religious within her family, for example. So she paid a price to practice her religion, really. But then things are coming one after another on the family, financially, like tough. They're in a tough position. And then she was raising such a point, for instance, saying that like Satan is posing a lot of question on me nowadays. Why is this happening to us? I don't want to take those questions serious, but like God, we are trying to live a life according to how you wished us to live, yet look at the financial crisis we are going through and the children and this and that. Oh, it's becoming too much, right? Such a question. So Ahmed, it's not as easy initially to say that since we know God is all knowing, I first need to really know God is all knowing so as to be able to be patient afterwards, probably. And this is what Kadir was pointing to. So, and generally, we need to ask the question to ourselves, what makes you think that God is merciful in the first place? I mean, are you convinced about that? Everybody has bits and pieces of that. I'm not saying that you have no clue and you're just going by your father's assumption that, oh, God is all merciful, my son, and you heard it from there and you move on with that. I'm not saying that. Everybody has bits and pieces of it. But is this conviction enough for you when, let's say, your cousin dies with a crash, as Zara was mentioning, or you observe some kids being bombed, dying under the rubbles and whatnot? Is your conviction about God being merciful still serve you, or it's starting to become insufficient for you? This becomes an important question. Does this make sense? And then this is when such a person will ask that question. If God exists, why does he not intervene to prevent suffering? If a God, as you're claiming, a merciful God exists, why is there so much suffering? Couldn't it be like everybody's chill, everybody's happy, we are in the paradise? And God is merciful, right? Also, mercifully, we are just getting everything. Why not? Could be a question. So that question is generally there. And again, imagine this question is being asked to you by a friend, a non-Muslim friend. So what would you say to that non-Muslim friend? Would you say that, well, since we know God is all merciful, then they would say, well, I don't know God is all merciful. And those non-Muslim friend questions are good in the sense that it's a good check for ourselves. Because am I taking it for granted? Or am I really convinced about it? And what I mean by that distinction is, when I say, does your mother love you? You would say yes. Not because generally mothers love their children, but because you taste and experience your mom loving you. So you're sure about it, no doubt about it. You're 100% sure about it. Are you as sure that God is all merciful without any doubt in your life? Or when I say God is merciful, you remember, oh, but such and such happened to me a few days ago, and I was really very angry with that. So for that reason, that's a relevant question. And this is why those non-Muslim questions, if you take, I mean, partially the question to yourself, you will probably find something within you which is asking a similar question. But it's good to ask that question so that you find a proper answer to that question for yourself. Okay? Okay, online people says, ooh, Zarar, why don't you talk, man? It's too long to read. As Quran says, who remember Allah while standing or sitting or lying on their sides and give thought to the creation of the heavens and the earth, saying, our Lord, you did not create this aimlessly. Exalted are you then protect us from the punishment of the fire. This was the verse from Surah Al-Imran, verse number 191. We think that his death did not need to be the way it was aimless. So just as the Quran predicts, we are all already burning inside. The punishment of fire is already upon us. But how do we figure out the reason behind this? How do we remedy it? Is Zara's question. So in the verse, it was saying that you need to be contemplating on things. This is a description of a believer. And then, if you don't do that contemplation properly, then you're going to be in the fire. And he says, we found ourselves in the fire of meaninglessness, because those people are like, imagine the family of the person who died. There's a fire in that family right now. Their hearts are burning, right? And this is partially because of separation, but also partially for why him, why this way, all those questions, right? This is a fire. If you find an answer to that while, that fire would get extinguished. If you don't find an answer to that fire, this is a sign that afterlife, you know about the fire in the afterlife? This fire that burns you right now is a sign that you need to answer this, to extinguish this fire in here and also in afterlife. Okay? So, and Nazar's question is, how do we figure out the reason, the meaning behind that? Which takes us back to, why is there suffering in this life? Okay, Dua says what? In my experience, the conviction that God is merciful comes under the question when you are the one going through the suffering. It's easier to see other people suffering, but it's hard to not feel entitled when it comes to yourself or your family. Right? Okay, Yasin, what do you think? Focus here. Close your laptop. It's so annoying.
Okay.
Okay.
You repeat the point?
Okay. Question.
Okay.
So suffering. There is suffering on this earth. Why does God make it like that?
Why did? Well, doesn't it go back to like free will? God giving you the power.
This is okay. What's your answer? I mean, going to free will is like, the defense players in soccer. When they are not able to take the ball to the other side, they shoot it to the side so that the ball just gets out of the field and we save some time, right? This is what you just did. Isn't that about free will? And throw the ball to the side for a throw in. No.
It's a fact question. It's not easy.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. At least I woke you up. That's good enough for me.
okay.
Okay, we'll get back to there. Yes.
I keep going back to the same other point, like, isn't it just a test? You test this all in different ways and.
Okay, very good. Test. Let's pick up on that. Test. Okay, what's a test? I hope you can answer this. Yes, in test. Tests are annoying, aren't they?
Yeah, but
You-
so
do you
the
like
value-
tests?
It values of what you learned, or
It values what?
what you have learned.
What you have learned. It evaluates.
Yeah,
Okay, it evaluates what you have learned.
or it demonstrates at least like
It
the
demonstrates.
principles.
Okay, demonstrates to whom? To the teacher? So that teacher knows whether you learned or not?
Yeah, I'd say that.
So, like, God needs to learn you learned or not? Like, what's the point? God is making you a test so that he says, well, did Yasin learn it well? Let me see if he did.
Well, I mean, you can say you had, but without physically doing it, then there's no proof.
God is all knowledgeable. Come on, one would say. Like, did Yasin got the point or not? Let me test Yasin to understand whether he did or not. Yes. Could you remind me your name, brother? Keramuku. Go ahead.
So I forget exactly what chapter and verse number, but there's a verse that says, "The humans really think that we will grant them paradise without testing them."
Okay, here it is. So it is Baqarah 214. So Alhamdulillah, we were thinking similar. So we picked up on the same verse.
So I think like God is promising us then paradise,
Okay.
which is everything. Like there's nothing that we can have in there. So that's like that's what we all aim for. And
Okay.
God is promising us that. So we need to go through something for us to deserve that. Because otherwise, what makes us deserve that?
Okay, okay. Like if God is so rich, right? God doesn't deserve anything or well, need anything, right? I mean, he could just give it to me simply. Why making it things so hard? Yeah.
I think it's to teach us a lesson instead of proving to the teacher that we learned something.
I see.
Because, for example, like when you have a test, you cram all the knowledge in the weeks before, but if you didn't have that test, then it would be like a bunch of abstract concepts that don't come together full circle into a lesson.
Mhm. Yeah, actually, tests are for you. Go ahead. Yeah, I mean,
Test is for the test is for your own self-benefit. It's not for the teacher. It's for the student to benefit from it from the most. So the reason we go through like such calamities is so that we can have like a sense of taqwa and God consciousness. And so whenever somebody goes through some like sort of hardship, it's like Allah is testing me in this sense. Allah is giving me this test, and it's like a reaction of do you go back to your Lord, do you go back to your Creator, or do you blame the Creator, or do you blame yourself? And pretty much in that sense is if you're always like in a good sense of like if you're always like happy and you're not going through anything, it's easy for someone to forget about like going back to the source of like mercy or the source of like tawbah or any of those things.
mhm. So Yasin, you have a test, and teacher is not going to learn anything from that test. Then who will learn? What do you learn about after a test? Like Rida was saying that preparing for the test is for you, so that because your purpose in school is to get a degree, is it to get an A or is it to learn? What is your purpose in the school? To learn. Like if you are a bad student, just oriented to get like this simple single page paper at the end, which is saying that, oh, you're a CS program, you're a CS graduate. If this is the whole point, I can prepare you one from Photoshop. Okay, that's possible. But if you're a bad student, if you're a good student, you would say that I am here to learn. Bad student says I need to get 100. Good student says I need to learn. My goal for taking this class, my goal for taking this exam and everything is they are means for learning. And if you fail in an exam, it's a wake-up call. It is saying that, well, you didn't study this properly. Go and revisit this topic. So tests are annoying to us because of its consequences, because we don't want to face our reality that I didn't learn properly. Test is for you. Like I'm a teacher. I don't care, honestly, what you guys take from your exams, because they pay me the same salary if you get 100 or if you get 0. But I care about your exams for you, because it's an indication whether you learned or not. So the number you get at the end of a test is just an indication of whether you learned properly or not. So a good student, after getting, let's say, an 80 from an exam, should go back and learn, what did I miss for this 20 points? So this is why let's replace the word test a little bit or overload it by saying that the purpose in this life is to learn, is training. The purpose in this life is training. And training is tough, isn't it? Like the first time you learned how to read. Now you're reading very fast. But were you reading like that when you were learning it for the first time? Or when you were learning how to write? As simple as the reading and writing, it was a challenge for you at some point, isn't it? Like I teach data structures class, which is hard for most of my students. I teach it in one of the hardest programming languages because I'm a sadistic professor, am I? Or because I think that they need to learn it because it's so fundamental for them. And if I teach them this topic in an easy programming language, it's going to be bad for my students because they wouldn't learn what they are supposed to learn from this class. It wouldn't be unmerciful to teach them this class in an easy programming language, which is Python. It is merciful to teach them in C, which induces a lot of suffering and pain. And here Yamin is there, who went through that. Well, Yamin was as a TA, went through that, but now Ibrahim is going through that. So it's pain, it's suffering, but this is how you will learn what you're learning. Yes.
As the learning is the main incentive, and you are comparing it when we are dealing with a teacher, a class analogy. So you are making the test more rigorous, so the learning becomes more better. But during your class, you have decided that C class is the language, but that's same for all the class. The test you give is same for every student.
Yeah.
But why in this case scenarios the tests are different?
Yes, very good. Because I am not as good of a teacher to know every single student's background. Because some of my students are weaker in C, some of them are stronger in C. Some of them are coming from some AP credit from high school where they already learned about data structures a little bit. Some of them has no clue whatsoever about it. Me being a human being, a limited human being, I just make an average guess and give them a common class for everybody. But if I were to know the specifics, if I know that Ibrahim is coming with AP credit, I wouldn't like to repeat some of the stuff that I would teach. I would start him from something more advanced. If I know that Yamin doesn't have any background whatsoever, maybe I would then say, well, maybe I should consider doing it in this easier language for Yamin, so on and so forth. That would be more merciful. And this is what is happening exactly in the life. The creator is hand tailoring, if you like, a specific education for every single human being, according to their background and their needs. So whatever is being put before me, I should then take it as, but again, going back to the extent that I am convinced the creator is a wise creator. Like you can trust to me, my students come to my class, right? And I teach it in C, programming language, and it's hard. The first time I taught it, I was like, students were up in arms because they say this is a new professor. He doesn't know what the heck he's doing, and he's torturing us. After 2 years of teaching and good feedback from previous terms, now students come to my class saying that, oh, we heard good things about this guy. He seems to be a good teacher and whatnot. Now nobody is complaining, and they are trusting. Now they know I am wise. They didn't know it before, though. This is why they were against it. So did you develop this sense of trust to the creator in your life? Have you seen that your creator is all wise? Well, he seems to be. Look where he put all the fingers. Look where he put my eyes. Look where he put my nose. Everything is in place. It looks like he knows what he is doing. Just observing your body could be a very good evidence for you to say that whomever designed this is really knowing what he is doing. And he is also the one who puts those bits and pieces in my life, this accident in there, and this tough condition in life in there and whatnot. Then I will seek wisdom in those because I know he is wise from my past experience with him. So I need to develop this sense of trust with the creator. Then I will interpret the rest. Yes.
So one thing I heard from a scholar, and he was talking about like why do we get these tests? So we wish for and we pray for all these traits like strong, being disciplined, having patience. So Allah won't just give us patience. He would give us opportunities to be patient.
Mhm.
He would give us opportunities to be resilient. So it's not a trait that you just get, it's a trait that you learn.
That's right. And when we talk about patience, patience shouldn't mean simply waiting. Like, for example, again, I'm going to take it back to my programming assignments that I give to my students. When I say, Ibrahim, you're now working on the first programming assignment, second programming assignment, and let's say you come and complain to me about the assignment being hard. If I say, Ibrahim, be patient. This doesn't mean that Ibrahim just stop working on the assignment and just wait, and then at some point revelation will come to you and you will start doing the assignment. This doesn't how it works. I would say patient means, Ibrahim, keep attempting to solve the problem. Get to office hours. If not to the office hours of the TA, come to my office hours. Read this extra reading. Try to go through different ways to figure out what that is, and then you will find the answer. As a teacher, I guarantee you, if you put your effort towards this, you will find the answer. So patience in this case doesn't mean stand still, but it means keep pushing. So attempt to learn more. And this is why every thing we face in life is an occasion for learning. The accident is learning. Winning something is also a learning opportunity. Are you being scared when you get admitted to a good job or pissed off? No, you're super happy you win something, right? It is another learning opportunity. We should be at least as careful. Like when the calamity happens, we are so vigilant, we don't like it. And we say, what does God mean by that, right? When you get admitted to a job, a well-paying job, we ask the same question. You should ask the same question. What am I going to get out of that? Why does God give me this one then? Which is, if we use the test analogy, which is another test, which is another occasion of learning, what am I supposed to take out of that? Am I going to say that, oh, I get into this job because I deserve it, right? Ahmed didn't deserve it because he is not so pious. I must be more pious in the eye of the God. Therefore, he gave me this job. Or is it that, oh, I worked hard. This is why God is giving it to me. I deserved this job. Ahmed didn't deserve it. Many wrong things can come out of that. It's another occasion, because when you get this success, all those ideas will pass through your head. Are you going to be able to say Alhamdulillah with the proper meaning of the word when you become successful? Meaning, all praise due to Allah, not to me. I got into the job, but it's not because of me. It's not because of my social skills. It's not because of how polished my CV was. It's not because of any of these. Any praise is due to my Creator. He is the one who gives the success. Am I able to thoroughly say that? Not with assumptions. And when a calamity happens, am I able to say Subhanallah? Like Zarar's cousin crushed. And the question in there is, God killed this boy in a very cruel way. This is a question going through. Some people don't put into words, but that question is definitely somewhere down there in those people, because you don't like it. And when something that you don't like happens, such question arise. Are you able to say Subhanallah in this case? What does Subhanallah mean? Anybody? All glory to God. Meaning, Yasin, all glory be to God. What does that mean? It sounds so glorious, but what does that mean in plain language?
All glory to God.
Yeah, Subhanallah. Practically, what does that mean?
All credit to him.
Credits? Well, this is more for Alhamdulillah. What else? Subhanallah, we practically say it when something bad happens. Subhanallah. What does that mean? We say Astaghfirullah. Another thing we say, well, Subhanallah. Yeah, practically, why do we say?
Clear of mistakes.
Allah is clear of mistakes. Because Zarar is, or at least the way he asks, is seeing a mistake in the hands of the Creator. He brutally killed my cousin. At least he could have done it more peacefully, mercifully, like a deathbed. Why didn't he make him die in a, like, by the roadside? It could have been in a more comfortable bed. So that's a question that comes, right? Subhanallah in this case means, no, the creator is free from any fault. Are you able to say that? So let's say Yamin is my TA, teaching assistant for the class. Student comes and complains about a question. Okay, says, come here, look, written assignment question 5. The professor says such and such and such. It doesn't make any sense. Like, this is a typo. The guy, like, this guy just torturous. He doesn't know what the heck he's asking and whatnot. If Yamin is convinced about the teacher being wise, he would say, Subhan is the teacher, meaning the teacher wouldn't make anything wrong. He is free from any defects. And rather, he would reread the question carefully and say, well, no, wait, you are the one reading the question wrong. Let me reread the question. You see, you missed this point over here. That word is what you misunderstood. So the mistake is on you, not in the teacher, you would say. That would be a proper use of Subhanallah within our context. So in my life, when I see such a thing, how would I be able to say Subhanallah? There's Zarin's comment. Let me read that. This is long due. Can we even truly understand the wisdom of suffering on our own? Or are these opportunities to turn to our Creator and ask Him for the qualities that will help us get through the suffering? Example, patience or a piece of the wisdom. Okay, so there will be points where you will not immediately have the answers to. Like, to summarize so far what we discussed, we see it as a suffering if we see life in a totally different perspective. Let's first take it as such. My student who comes to college, and Ibrahim came to college. Where are you from? Oman. So he came to college from Oman because his friends who came to America before said that, oh, Ibrahim, college life in America is so chill, man. Go there and enjoy your life for 4 years. And Oman, life sucks. Go to college. And now with all those hopes that he's going to have party, he comes to college and he takes data structures from me. And life is hell now. So he is so upset with the suffering he's going through. So there's a suffering in here because expectations doesn't match, first and foremost. He was looking for party environment. He ended up getting into a tough learning environment. And this tough learning environment makes him feel suffer. To me, for example, watching Qadir in the gym while he is suffering with all under this heavy burden, I say, what's wrong with you, man? Why are you just suffering in the gym with those heavy weights? Why would somebody do this to themselves, I would say, right? Is he suffering? No, he's enjoying. I mean, it is a burden. Literally, it's a burden, right? Like those weight is literally a burden, but joyfully he is lifting this because he now sees a purpose behind lifting those heavy weights, which is going to give him muscles, make him stronger. And this is a goal for him to become stronger. So he doesn't suffer anymore from lifting those weights. But to me, if you point a gun to my head, give me those weights, and say, lift this 50 times, it would be a suffering for me. I say, for what? I'm not interested in muscles. I'm not interested in getting strong. I'm just doing it in order not to get killed. It's a suffering for me because it's a meaningless act for me, not for you. So Ibrahim would suffer from taking data structures if his expectation is that I am here to party. But if he revises his expectations and he says that, no, I am here to learn problem solving. I am here to learn programming. I'm here to get this job. And getting this job is really going through that hardship. I mean, it's hard because I don't know it. And as I practice, it will get easy and I will learn it. So it's not going to become a suffering anymore. There's going to be somewhat of a pain, meaning a physical pain or whatever, but it's not suffering. Suffering is something that bothers you. Like psychologically, you're bothered by it. But pain is, like, it is pretty much like sugar, or I don't know. I like putting hot pepper to my food, for example. It hurts, but I enjoy. So this is pain. It's not suffering. I enjoy this salt and pepper in my food. Taking data structures, still it's going to be hard, but it's not going to be a suffering anymore if you recondition yourself about your purpose in here. Likewise, when we look at things happening, a most beloved dying, this is definitely going to inflict pain on you because there's separation. And you love that person. You love being together with that person. But suffering from that is going to be something like, this is pointless. Why is this happening this way? Why it happens to me? Not being able to find an answer is where that suffering comes from. And that needs an answer. That needs to recondition, first of all, what was the point of being in this life? And it also happens with, I think this is where we talked about afterlife, as Rita was mentioning. Like in the movie, what was the example? Harry Potter. Did you guys watch Harry Potter? Harry Potter. Okay, everybody did. Good. So, do you remember the scene where Dumbledore was killed? Like, so upsetting. The guy is dying, right? So, and you already developed a sense of love towards that person, and he is being killed by Snape, who's the bad guy. So, I mean, it is necessary. If you don't, well, let me backtrack once more. My childhood, I was age 5 or 6. We went to my aunt's house, and my aunt started playing a Turkish movie, like that type where the child is normally coming from a rich family, but then somebody abducts the child and ends up in an abusive environment. So poor, sorry. So I was crying, like as a 6-year-old. It was too much drama for a 6-year-old to distinguish what is real and what is a movie, right? I was really thinking that the boy is going through this hardship. I told them to close the TV. They did not. So I left my aunt's house, walking to my family's house. I couldn't take it. I was suffering at this moment because I thought it to be real. If somebody were to tell me that, look, I mean, this is just a movie, man. I mean, this guy over there, he already grew up, like he is a multimillionaire film artist. So he is not suffering any of these. So it was just to give you a message. Likewise, Dumbledore, like the guy didn't die. It was just a scene to deliver a message, and delivered the message. In the gala of the movie, the guy was like not even wearing like a Dumbledore. He's wearing clothes like you and me, and he was just super happy person. If you think that your cousin who died in an accident in a harsh way is Snape killing Dumbledore in the movie, if you realize that, but then Dumbledore guy, I don't know who the name of that guy is, but he really didn't die. Like it was just part of the movie. He just, at this moment, he's not in the movie anymore. But this doesn't mean that the guy not existing anymore.
The real actor just.
Yeah, the real actor didn't die.
Silver.
Or did he?
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like he died for a second time. So then the point is that as I'm realizing this, because now I'm refining my understanding of life, then I wouldn't suffer. Yes, in the movie, because of this emotion to the personality of Dumbledore in there, let's say you know that the actor didn't die, but the personality of Dumbledore died. Now you're not suffering that much, but still there are some feelings in there saying that, oh, why did he die, sort of a thing. But you're not devastated now. But rather now you can ask the question, since you know that it's just a movie and it's not the reality itself, you can now ask the question, what does the director mean? What message does he want to give by this plot going in this way? Likewise, in life, as much as I am convinced that this life is nothing but an education ground, sort of a movie for me to get to learn something, then I would ask the question, not complainingly, but trying to understand. The nature of my question has changed. Like, it's not that why he killed my cousin like this. It's not in that format, but rather, why killing my cousin in this accident like that? What does my creator tell me? I'm really wanting to learn that. I'm not complainingly, criticizingly trying to get it. I'm not like, what's it, wildly rebelling. This question is not a rebellious question anymore, but rather it's a learning purposeful. The purpose of that asking is now learning. So suffering ends in there. Therefore, suffering happens, or at least this is how I understand suffering, this not being able to see the meaning or purpose behind things. And not being able to see meaning and purpose behind things happens first and foremost because I look at it the wrong way. Now let's come to Musa alayhi salam's case. Musa alayhi salam and Khidr. Musa alayhi salam, as a prophet, looking at life from a meaningful point of view as well. Yet he is not able to see the purpose behind things too. Time to time, this also happens. He is not criticizingly looking at it, but still asking question to Khidr. And in this story, Khidr is representing how Creator is acting in this life. He's trying to understand, why is this happening like that? And Khidr says, you cannot be patient with me. Then let's revisit what we mean by patience. Then the Creator says, Ibrahim, you came from Oman. You don't know much about C programming. Just because you stepped in this college, do you think that you will learn programming with a magical wand touching on you? You will need to put some effort here. This is how learning is defined, ordained for human beings. What do we mean by that? Let's make a very quick comparison. Birds. Or have you seen like the videos of cow, newborn cow? Within 5, 10, 15 minutes, they start walking. How long did it take for you to walk, Kadir, the strong guy? 2 years?
2
What,
years.
1 year?
1.5.
Like the strong guy took 1.5 years to learn how to walk. Cows learn it right away. So cows are not supposed to train and learn. God says, I teach them immediately. They are not meant to learn. They are not made to learn. But human, you are made to learn. This is how your Creator made you. Why? I don't know why, but this is how I am. I am meant to learn, and it takes time. It takes 1.5 years just to walk. So the Creator says, this is how I designed you. Being patient in this case means I am setting something in front of you, and I know it will take time for you to learn it, realize it, but as much as you realize wisdom of your teacher, comfortably you will go through that education. Even if you are Moses, it will take time for you to see the wisdom behind things. But being patient in this case means not just standing there, but consciously putting effort to figure out the purpose behind it. Because that teacher reveals the answers eventually. Because this is the point of him keeping you in this life. He put you in this class so that you learn programming. And the teacher says, and this is how I do actually in the slides. I say, for now, take this answer from me. I will explain this in the 5th week. Up until that time, trust me, when we come to week 5, I will explain what that means. I say to students, because student asks a question. Why did you say it like this? I say, well, I cannot explain it right now because it's too early for you to understand the purpose behind that, give me 5 weeks. For now, just accept that 1 plus 1 is 2. For now, just accept it as such. At week 5, I will explain why this is the case. But I need to build up something up until week 5 so that I am able to explain it to you. Not because I cannot explain it, but you will not understand if I explain it right now. So give me 5 weeks that we will build up the content. Okay? So this is what patience means in this case. And if the student says, no, I want answers now, I would say, come on. Then you are not being a proper student. You don't know your limitations. You're a human being. And human beings do not learn things all at once. You're not animal. Like animals learn all at once certain things. They fly very quickly. They walk very quickly. I mean, bees, they are experts in honey making. How many years have passed? Thousands of years. Still, we cannot make honey as much as they do, right? Like the bees do. Yet they learn it, I don't know, days, hours. Like they leave the beehive and start collecting pollen and immediately do honey. Where did you learn this from? The creator says, I inspired them. So it looks like the creator could have really give us the answers immediately, because he does give answers immediately to other creatures, to animals and everything. But he chose not to do this to us. Then what is upon me is, okay, my creator, it looks like you designed me to learn in this specific way. So what is my responsibility then? I mean, this is, if you would like to battle towards that, you will be the loser anyways. You are created as such. You cannot get out of this setup of yourself. You cannot get answers immediately. You are meant to learn through time. So properly ask the questions and get the answers properly. There was another comment. Dua says, suffering is also an opportunity to read peace in the name of God. When parents die, people think that the kids will never be normal again. They won't laugh the way they used to, but then they get healed and they move on. We attribute it to time. But it is God telling us that our parents weren't the source of peace in our life. The one who disturbs us comforts us after disturbance, showing us that he is the source of peace and comforts. Yes, Jazakallah khair. So reframing it this way, I guess, is a proper solution. Now for this verse, since we pulled it up, so this is from Surah Baqarah. أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا متى نصر الله ألا إن نصر الله قريب. Or do they think that they will enter paradise while, well, the translation is so weird, so I'll go from the original. So do they think that they will enter paradise, so without what happened to those before them happened to them? What happened to those before them? So affliction. So dharra is like being squeezed, like being in a tough condition, adversity. Wazulzilu, and the earthquakes. Earthquake could be literal earthquake, as it happened in Philadelphia today, or it could be earthquake in your family life, earthquake in your professional life. Okay. حتى يقول الرسول والذين معه. So much so that the messenger and the believers within the messenger said, متى نصر الله? When is the help of God coming? The believer is asking it. So it could happen to the point that hardships are happening. ألا إن نصر الله قريب. Now surely Allah's help is near. So if you take it as an annoying test, it will be bothersome, it will be suffering. If you take the test as the purpose of teaching and training, then everything changes. Shall we conclude here? Inshallah. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.